All right, guys. Today we're talking about some big news coming out of the European League of Legends scene. Obviously, you can see right here, not necessarily a surprise after they lost Jankos, which I think is something we talked about a week ago or something at this point. But Sheep Esports tweeting out this: sources, top laner Perkz and mid laner Leader. Super crazy and funny still to be talking about Perkz, the ERL top laner. But these guys are both out of the Rudy Sack roster as the team rebuilds towards a more traditional roster. So we definitely need to get into this article. This is obviously some big and significant changes going on to the ERL scene. Despite the offseason hype, the team saw mediocre results in winter and will now have to rebuild its roster. According to Sheep Esports sources, Perkz and Leader will not be part of the Rudy Sacks NLC roster in the spring split. After only one split together, the hyped roster, which also featured Jankos, Humza, this roster has fallen apart. Sheep Esports could not confirm Hustlin's future at the organization, though it's likely that Rudy will field a different support in spring. Perkz, who role swapped to top lane to let Leader play mid, took a break from competitive play last year and expressed uncertainty regarding his future as a pro player. Leader also took a break from competitive in 2024, staying out of the competitive play all year. With both players leaving the roster, their future as professional players is unclear. So obviously I would love to, have more information about if Perkz is going to try to go on another ERL team or whatever's going on. But I think for right now, most people aren't very high on either Perkz or Leader, obviously, and I'm sure maybe it's the last we've seen of them. Maybe another team will take an opportunity for them. Maybe there's some thing that makes sense. But yeah, overall, I think this split was just kind of disaster as far as content wise and even gameplay wise and stuff like that, and also for the futures of some of these players, because they're just overall not people that players that people are super high on right now, and who really wants to watch Perkz continue to struggle as a top laner in the ERLs. Like, to me, that's not necessarily that interesting or that exciting, even though Perkz is obviously one of the most historic players of all time. Like, hey, what are we doing here at some point? In winter, the Rudy Sack, co-owned most notably by content creator Don Jake, aimed to catch Cadrill's Los Ratones in popularity and fan appeal. Like Los Ratones, the team was built around former LEC players with massive brands and streamed scrims from each player's point of view. However, the organization's primary focus was content creation, spearheaded by Jake and I Will Dominate, not competitive results. Jankos, considered the greatest Western jungler of all time, is going to instead play for Nord Esports, the NLC next split, with the most competitive accomplishments on the team and the largest streaming brand by far. His departure after only one split bellied further changes for the roster. And that's what I don't necessarily understand here, because obviously it seems like, Jake and I Will Dominate and Yamato, it seems like their goals for this team were mostly content creation driven, stream driven. They wanted to get big name players. They wanted to, try and get a fan base off of, what those people have accomplished and use their own streaming and social media and stuff to push them even further. But now the fact that we're talking about a roster rebuild where you're not going to have a Jankos, you're not going to have a Perkz, you're not going to have some of these big name guys. What is the point anymore? Like, Jake and I Will Dominate, they just want to make a regular ERL team. Like, they're just going to have an ERL team with a ton of prospects. Is that content? Are people going to tune in? Do people care about that? Are people going to like that? I don't understand. They aren't focused on not competitive results. They're instead focused on the other stuff, but they're not going to have big name players. They're not going to have, big streaming talents or players with big personal brands. Like, that is what I don't necessarily understand here. I don't understand what I Will Dominate and Jake's goals are at this point, or what their vision is for the future. Because if they just want to own an ERL team, like, hey, I mean, it is what it is. Great, go for it. But then it seems like the goals should be like player development or competitive results. Like, it's content creation around a normal ERL team with no, notable players interesting? I don't think so, but hey, I guess we'll have to wait and see. It seems like they're maybe just stuck in a situation. Maybe it seems like they just got in a little bit too over their heads and wanted to be the Walmart Los Ratones, and they found out that, hey, being the Walmart Los Ratones is actually harder than it seems, and maybe isn't even that good of a place to be in the first place. On Twitter, Humza explained that despite his willingness to continue his professional career, personal circumstances and the logistics of an American streamer playing in the NLC forced him to depart the roster. Copying Los Ratones' formula, a league streamer making his competitive debut along 3 LEC legend ERL veteran, all helmed by a top co-streamer, doesn't necessarily guarantee success. As Rudy Sack rebuilds, hoping to claim its first NLC title after last summer's second place finish, the team won't have behemoth player brands to build around. So we will have to see what the future has in store for Perkz, for Leader, for Rudy Sack, for Dominate, for Jake. I don't know, but obviously this is a big deal. Perkz leaving this team, leaving this roster, now out on the open market, and Rudy Sack with maybe an entire roster that they're going to need to rebuild and reload for the future. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Of course, everything we do here at Sheep Esports is powered by Holy. Definitely go check them out. First link in the description below. Use those discount codes SE5 or SE10 to get a nice little discount on your purchases. Holy great tasting energy drinks that also just so happen to be healthier than the competition. So really no reason to not go check them out today. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. Until then, peace.